Amanda here. Welcome back to my book nook. So in this video, I am going to be talking about The Silent Patient by Michaelides. I'm not 100% sure where I should start in my discussion in regards to this book. So I'm going to give first my bit of a disclaimer. I did my undergraduate in psychology. My goal is to get into doing therapy. If you also have a very similar type of thing in which you work as a therapist, or you just have very, very close ties to psychiatry, therapy, anything like that, there are times in this book where you are going to want to throw it into a did not finish pile. My recommendation is that you don't, and you keep pushing through it. So, you have a woman who is in a criminal mental institution, basically. Her name is Alicia. She had shot her husband 5 times and then refused to speak, and has not spoken since she has shot her husband. In this story, your other main character is her psychotherapist, Theo. Theo is the worst psychotherapist you may ever see. Lots of ethical violations, such as, not necessarily checking if there's consent forms, and then talking to family and her attorney about her. Getting way too close to his subject. Breaking the rules of the hospital, because the hospital also really is not providing the adequate supervision that they should be for this individual. There's a lot of, even outside of Theo, people in the hospital have some pretty subpar psychotherapy and therapeutic practices, but Theo's are definitely the worst. At the same time, throughout this, you are having chapters interjected with Theo's own personal life with his wife when he finds out that she's having an affair with him. So you're having this information, and you're also following his attempts to figure out, first, why did Alicia shoot her husband 5 times in the face? And 2, why does she not speak? And can we get her to start speaking again? Because that is the main reason why she's in the hospital. It isn't because of what she did. It's because of, since doing what she did, she hasn't spoken. The one good thing that he does do in regards to the therapy aspect is he realizes that since she's an artist, that she may open up more if she has access to art. She does have the ability to participate in art therapy, but it's very structured things, and she's in there with multiple other people, and it isn't working for her, because when she would do her painting on her own, it was in her own area, and she could just go for whatever it was that she was feeling. So he does try to bring in that type of a thing, which I was like, hey, we're having a little bit of progress here with that. And that did not last very long before, again, he does something. I'm just like, I want to shake you so much. About 2/3 of the way through the book, the twist happens, because this is a mystery thriller, and at that point, you realize, oh, all of the actions that he was doing make sense. It also has a very ambiguous ending. I personally, the way my brain decided to go with the ending is that things do not end the best for either our main characters. You may end up deciding differently, but in my opinion, it was, even though it was an ambiguous ending, it was an ambiguous ending leaning towards an unhappy ending for our characters. Honestly, in regards for a reader and for someone not in the story, that ambiguous unhappy ending for your characters is a really satisfying ending for the readers. So, again, I had a lot of issues with this book. Not with the writing of the book. There were 2 main reasons that it was able to stay out of the did not finish pile for me. One, in one of my discords, there was another person who was reading it also in the psychology therapy field who was ahead of me in the book and had, when I was expressing some of my issues in regards with it, they were letting me know, hey, things will end up getting better. Don't worry about it too badly. Because when they started reading the book, they had the same problems I was having. And again, they had someone who was not in the field who was telling them, hey, keep going with it. It'll all make sense eventually. The other reason was, even if I didn't have that, it still may not have ended up in the did not finish pile because it was very well written. I enjoy his writing styles a lot, and if I run across other books written by him, because I know he has at least one more, and this one was his first one, but I know that he has at least one more. I don't know if it's out yet or if it is going to be coming out. I may have still gone through with finishing reading it because despite how much anger and frustration I had with Theo, part of the reason I was able to have so much of that was because it was being so well written. So this is a book that I'm going to kind of give a double rating on. In regards to the writing, I give it a 7.5 out of 10. In regards to everything other than the psychological aspect and the therapy aspect, and if I was going to be talking to someone who is not in these fields, I'd be like, yeah, go ahead and read it. It's really good. In regards with you add in the therapy and the frustration of myself with regards to the therapy, I'm giving it a 6 out of 10 because it was that problematic for me. Overall, that I would say it's a decent 7 out of 10 when you add both things in together, which means that I do lean heavily on, I lean further into the writing and the story than I do into the infuriating therapy that takes place in it. The only other thing that I do want to point out that was weird, isn't really a spoiler at all because it takes place right from the very beginning, is you don't know who the narrator of the story is until the second chapter, which was really strange because when you're reading the first chapter, you can tell that it's not being written in a third person omnipresence. It's being written with one person being set up as the point of view. In fact, the first chapter, it's all basically third person reading. The second chapter, you realize, okay, this is a first person story, but it's not Alicia because Alicia's being talked about in narrative by her name. It isn't until the beginning of the third chapter that you find out who it is. Other really cool things about this is interspersed throughout the book are samples from Alicia's diary because that was something that she wrote in regarding so much of her life and ends up being one of the big things that helps out with that ambiguous ending. But yeah, so Silent Patient by Michaelides. I recommend it. It's not as high of a recommendation as some of the other books that I've done, and I do want to make sure that that caveat for anyone in a psychology therapy based field is reminded. There is going to be a lot of problematic stuff with this book that you may end up not being able to finish it. My recommendation is try to push past some of that because like I said, it will make sense, but I will understand if you're not able to. Thank you. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to my channel, and hit the bell for notifications, and I'll see you next time. Bye!